What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I will take you guys through my wildcard draft for the upcoming double game week 31. So I don't really know how many of you guys are actually on the wildcard chip, but this video will be relevant to those of you on the wildcard chip, as well as those of you who aren't, like myself, just to give us some context about some potential options that we can bring in with those free transfers. I'm going to start off the video by giving you guys some context about the game week schedule from now to the end of the season before talking about some options and the wildcard draft that I would be going for. Right at the end of the video, to kind of wrap it up, I'll also be discussing the game week 33 fixtures. Double game week / blank game week 33 will be an integral part of your wildcard draft, and therefore I decided to cover those fixtures as well. So that's something you guys are interested in? Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So as mentioned in the introduction to this video, I'll be discussing the game week schedule first of all, and to help us with that, I've decided to go over to Mikkel Tokvum's graphic yet again. If you guys don't know who Mikkel Tokvum is, I've been covering his graphic extensively throughout my prior videos, so if you guys don't exactly know what's going on here, go check out one of my previous videos. But go check out Mikkel on Twitter, otherwise subscribe to his Patreon called The Transfer Algorithm to give you guys some more insights. But in terms of using the wildcard in game week 31, I consider this to be quite an early wildcard from now to the end of the season. I think game week 34-35 might be more of a better position depending on your chip strategy, but that's where the chips do come into account. So if you guys do still have the wildcard or the second wildcard, I honestly think that most of you probably have either the bench boost or maybe a free hit, but I think the majority of you will have a bench boost in your back pocket. So I do think if you guys are going to wildcard in game week 31, you're probably looking to bench boost either in game week 33 or game week 36, but I probably would bet on game week 33 just because it's closer to the wildcard, and you guys know how I love the bench boost plus the wildcard combination. So game week 33 and game week 36 are the two big game weeks left in the season in terms of doubles that I think you guys on a wildcard should be taking advantage of. If you guys want to know about the fixtures in game week 36 and game week 37, you guys can check out the video I released yesterday where I went over the final chip strategy ultimate guide, as I went quite extensively into those fixtures and did a little bit of analysis around the chip strategies. But what I kind of want to get out of this talking point is that I have kind of assumed that you guys will be bench boosting in game week 33, and therefore if you guys aren't using the bench boost chip, you guys can change the bench around, because I've gone for quite a strong bench as I have gone for that assumption. Then in terms of double game week 36, the majority of teams actually have a double game week, as it is the biggest double game week of the season, and therefore your starting 11 should have double game week fixtures, and therefore you should be fine even though you have wildcarded for game week 33. Unfortunately, with double game week 36 and 37, we don't exactly have the confirmation of those fixtures, and therefore it is only a prediction of what doubles will happen, and therefore I've only gone for the secured options of double / blank game week 33, as all those fixtures have been confirmed and will definitely be taking place. Obviously in double game week 31, we do have two fixtures, Everton and Burnley both having doubles, and therefore I have incorporated some of these players, but I do think the focus should be on 33 and 36. If you guys don't understand what I was talking about in this graphic, as I do know that I sometimes talk quite quickly, or maybe I didn't explain something that you want to be covered, just drop a comment down below and I'll get your comment as soon as possible. Now moving on to the next talking point, and I actually want to cover a specific team, and that's going to be Chelsea. And the reason I want to actually go over Chelsea is that I've not included any Chelsea options in my wildcard draft. A little bit of a spoiler alert there, but the reason I've not included them is I do think there's going to be some heavy rotation defensively and from an attacking point of view. Tuchel has already offered massive rotation in terms of the attack, even though the game week schedule hasn't been as tough. In the defense, they've been a little bit more secured, but I think with the upcoming fixtures for Chelsea, there's definitely going to be some rotation. The current fixture plan for the next 5 games are going to be on the 2nd of April, they face Brentford at home in game week 31. They then host Real Madrid in the Champions League quarterfinals on the 6th of April. They then have Southampton 3 days later on the 9th away. Following that, 3 days again, they have Real Madrid away, which they will be travelling to. And then finally on the 17th of April, they have the FA Cup semi-final against Crystal Palace. So as you guys can see, the schedule is pretty insane for Chelsea at the current moment. Now yes, there could be some attackers that start the majority of games, maybe a Mason Mount or a Havertz, but in terms of the defenders, there's only one I want to get, and that's going to be Reece James. Now when looking at this fixture schedule, I do worry about Reece James because he has come back from that injury. No ways Tuchel plays him in all 5 of these games, and if you look at the fixtures, you got to kind of say that he'll be rested in the Premier League. And obviously in FPL, we need them in the Premier League fixtures, so I need them for Brentford, I need them for Southampton, and I need them for the game after Crystal Palace, and unfortunately I do think he might not start all of them. So I just wanted to cover this talking point because I think Chelsea options, if you guys want to take punts, go a little bit maverick, and you are assured that they will be starting most games, I would definitely be covering them on a wildcard just because most FPL managers don't have them in their sides and their fixtures look simply outstanding. So don't roast me in the comments too much. I would like to bring a Chelsea option in, but as I said, I'm going to offer you guys a more conservative approach, and that's without the blue side of London. So now going on to that Game Week 31 wildcard draft. Right off the bat though, in terms of finances, I did have 0.1 left in the bank, but I would offer some upgrades and some downgrades once you've spoken about the starting 15. But going on to our bench, I've got a double up in defense of Dubravka and Sarr from Newcastle. I think the fixtures coming up for Newcastle don't look that bad. The double game week in 33 looks quite good, and therefore I would opt for some Newcastle options. I do favour the Newcastle defense to the attack, as I think under Eddie Howe, they've improved dramatically in terms of the stats, or at least in the defensive department, and that's why I think the goalkeeper and the centre back can offer us some points. I then have a Burnley defender, which you might be asking me why I have them, but the simple fact is that Burnley have so many fixtures to kind of be rearranged, and the double game weeks are coming thick and fast for them, and that's why I have gone for Roberts at 4.3 million. Now yes, he is actually going to be on my bench for Game Week 31's double. He has Man City at home, which I think will be a clean sheet wipeout. Then it's a tough game against Everton, where I do see Everton scoring, and that's why I do have Roberts on my bench. The final player, Harvey Barnes, and the simple reason for Harvey Barnes is that Leicester's double is the best in Game Week 33, and against United away, I'm perfectly fine benching him when you do see our starting 11. Now on a wildcard, I would get in some Leicester options, even just kind of pre-transfer them in because you will want them by Game Week 33, and that's why Harvey Barnes is my favourite midfielder to have from them. Going on to our starting 11, the first player is going to be the goalkeeper, and yet again, it's another Leicester option. You might be wondering why I do have Schmeichel, but let me explain about that. As we saw with Chelsea's kind of rotation, Leicester's fixture schedule is also pretty insane, and that's I think the only nailed defender from Leicester is going to be Schmeichel. Now yes, he might not offer that attacking threat, maybe not the most save points in the world, but I do really favour Leicester's doubles coming up, and they also have the maximum amount of fixtures left to be rearranged. The fixture against United isn't the best in the world, but United have also been struggling, and I guess you could play Dubravka if you think you'll get more points. Going on to our back three, it's a pretty template back three, excluding Trent Alexander-Arnold, and the reason I've gone for Robertson over Trent is that he currently is injured and he's rumoured to be back for the Man City game. But what that does mean is that he'll miss Watford at home, a fixture that I do see Liverpool doing quite well in, and that's why I think on a wild card, you don't have to stress about it too much. Go for Robertson, and you can always bring Trent in when he does come back from that injury. I then have accompanied Robertson with his colleague or compatriot from Scotland, Tierney, against Crystal Palace away. Arsenal have a nice double coming up as well, and defensively, they've actually been a pretty strong side over the prior game weeks, and that's why I'm perfectly fine with bringing Tierney in, because he does offer a slight attacking threat. Now with Tierney, we're kind of hoping that Tomiyasu returns to the starting 11, because Tomiyasu plays the more defensive fullback, and that allows Tierney to push up. The final defender to go for is going to be Cancelo, a no-brainer here. Man City have the best defense, or one of the best defenses in the Premier League, and I think Cancelo with that attacking threat will get you a massive haul from now to the end of the season, that might even come in Game Week 31 against Burnley away. One of the most nailed Man City options to get, and I think in this title push, they will be playing the full strength starting 11 the majority of game weeks, and that's I'm perfectly fine having the Portuguese international. So overall the defense looks pretty stacked. We've got a pretty template back three here, but I think Sarr and Roberts add some flavour there, and our goalkeepers look pretty decent. Moving on to our midfield four, we have some more template options and some differentials. The first template option is going to be Mo Salah. I think definitely watch the Egypt game versus Senegal happening tonight or yesterday, depending on when this video does get uploaded. But just make sure that Salah's injury free, as there's been some concern about his foot. But Watford at home, simply one of the best fixtures. And if you guys do remember, a couple seasons ago, scored 4 goals against them, and he might repeat that in Game Week 31. Saka, also a bit of a template pick. Great form at the current moment. Arsenal attackers, not really the best options, but Saka is quite clinical, and that's why I think with the upcoming game weeks, he should have some goals in him. But then our two more differential options, the first one definitely more differential, is going to be Ward-Prowse from Southampton. So the reason I do like Ward-Prowse is the next two look quite strong, then there's a double in 33, and then after that you might want to get rid of them, but I do think he's at a price point where you can downgrade him quite easily. I think another favourable option will be a Martinelli or a Fraser, but I just think Southampton have some good fixtures upcoming, especially that Leeds one in Game Week 31. Ward-Prowse on most of their set pieces, so should be involved if Southampton do score. You just got to kind of hope they rebound after this bad form and at least put the ball in the net a couple of times. Rafinha ends out our midfield, a player that might be a little bit of a hit or miss player, but I do think with the next two fixtures, you can still keep him, and that's why I have gone for him, as I think over the next two, there's not many better fixtures than what he has currently, with Southampton at home and then Watford away. The nice thing about him, like Ward-Prowse, you can easily downgrade him or move him to a similar option, and the plan is currently to ship him out for Madison come Game Week 33. Finally, go on to our forward department. I've gone for Weghorst, Kane and Adams. So Weghorst, pretty self-explanatory there. Not many forwards that are performing well at the current moment. So therefore I've gone for the forward with the most fixtures, and Burnley have 2 doubles coming up in the next 3 game weeks. Now yes, his stats aren't great. His price isn't that bad as well, so I don't really mind having the Dutchman in my squad and just hoping that Weghorst can repay us for the faith. Harry Kane though, opposite of Weghorst, a little bit of a no-brainer there. Definitely one of the best options, if not the most informed option in the Prem at the moment. And with lovely fixtures coming up, even though it doesn't double in 33, I still would keep the English striker. The nice thing about Kane as well is that you can easily downgrade him to Ronaldo if you want to captain CR7 in game week 33. And then finally Adams, maybe a little bit more of a different pick here. A lot of people do own Breuer, but I just feel that Adams is more nailed. And with Breuer's current transfer situation, remember that he is on loan from Chelsea, and with Southampton on the beach currently, can't really be relegated, can't move up, they might look to play Adam Armstrong as he is the more secured option in terms of the future. So that's why I think I've gone for Che Adams here. I think he's worth the extra value, and Southampton's doubles coming up. I'm just hoping that Che can get some goals. But overall, guys, I think this draft looks pretty strong. Yes, you could downgrade other departments. I think Ward-Prowse will probably be the question mark for most managers. Maybe Rafinha if you want to take him out, but I do think his stats are quite strong, and I do think that Leeds will be quite attacking, at least in these next two. Comment what you guys think about the draft down below. Any changes you would make, any upgrades, downgrades. Always like to see what your guys' opinions are. But now finally going on to the game week 33 fixtures, and the reason I want to kind of cover this is just to show you guys what's in the future, and if you guys are choosing to bench boost, what you'll be having in your starting 15. So starting off in terms of the goalkeepers, remember you'll be playing both goalkeepers on a bench boost. Schmeichel has Newcastle and Everton away, and Dubravka has Leicester and Crystal Palace at home. Definitely the two best fixtures for double game week 33, and that's why I would go for these two options, as defensively you do hope for some save points, but I think there are potentially some clean sheets in game week 33. The defensive department has mostly double game weeks. We have Robertson against United at home and Cancelo against Brighton at home. Both of these two fixtures I can see them keeping a clean sheet in, but also Robertson and Cancelo offer that attacking threat, so they might even get a cheeky assist or goal. Tierney with Southampton away and Chelsea away. Chelsea definitely a harder fixture, but Arsenal might even keep a clean sheet there if that game is quite boring. Shaw has the same games as Dubravka, and Roberts comes in with West Ham away and Southampton at home, and Burnley really need to keep some clean sheets if they are to stay in the Premier League. Our midfield department has 4 double game week players. I've spoken about the transfer of Rafinha to Maddison, and that is penciled in for game week 33. You just gotta kind of hope that Maddison and Barnes start both games against Newcastle and Everton away. Ward-Prowse has a double against Arsenal at home and Burnley away. Saka has Southampton and Chelsea like Tierney. Salah has a single game week, but it is against United, where he will look to repeat what he did at Old Trafford. In terms of the forward department, Weghorst, Ronaldo and Adams all have double game weeks. I've done the transfer of Kane to Ronaldo in terms of that double game week 33 captain, as I do think he's going to be the most popular option heading into that double. You guys can always bring Kane back in for game week 34 when United's fixtures don't look that strong, but Kane also has some nice ones. Weghorst, yet another double coming up against West Ham away and Southampton at home. Pretty good double that I think he could score in. I think the West Ham game is quite tough, but as I said, Burnley have to start scoring some goals if they want to stay out of relegation. Ronaldo with Norwich at home and Liverpool away, definitely hoping on that Norwich game for him to get some points. But with United out of all competitions other than the Prem, I do think Ronaldo will start both. And then finally Adams, similar to Ward-Prowse, Arsenal at home, Burnley away. Definitely hoping in that Burnley game that they do perform. But I think out of all the other striker options, I still do prefer Adams. So you guys can see in terms of the bench boost, even if you're not going to bench boost in 33, you will get a really respectable team if you do wildcard in 31. And therefore I would kind of use the chip earlier than later on. But this is about to wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys for the team selection coming up tomorrow, as of you guys watching this video, where we might be seeing Trent out, but who in? But I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.